oh, okay, so I'm going to lose my business. I'm going to lose that, we're going to lose our house, that, all of the things that we're going to,
Yeah.
you know, uh, just completely explode. And the funny thing about it was, it didn't explode.
Right.
Yeah, the sky did not fall. And, little things step by step started helping us figure out how to get through it.
Yeah. Well, I'll say one of the things I teach is, you know, you set a goal and think about what are the obstacles that you could potentially run into and how, what's your plan B? And essentially,
Mhm.
this is like, I've got some major obstacles here to
Yes.
having a decent life and getting through this. Like, what's my plan B for keeping my house and keeping bread on the table? And
Mhm.
not dying. That'd be a good plan.
Yes.
Have a good
Yeah.
plan B for that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like we're talking
Exactly.
about like really big hitter obstacles.
Yeah. Right. Right. And I mean, the first one, like you were saying, is the mindset.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Entrepreneur Freedom Solutions Show. I'm Eric Asbeck, creator of the Super Focused Entrepreneur Action Plan course. And today I've got Julie-Anne Pina with us, and she is a cancer coach for business owners. That's a little bit of a different topic, but if you're there or if you know somebody's there, this is an important thing. So she helps business owners with cancer to have the time, clarity, and focus to be able to handle both their business and what they've got to do for their health needs. So, hey, Julie-Anne, how are you?
Hey, good to be here. Thank you. Doing well.
Excellent. This is one of those topics. Like I say, if if you're in that situation, you want to know. So, uh, tell
Yes.
you what, could you tell us your story and how you got here?
Sure. Well, I have been a business consultant since 2001, so about 20 years now, a little over, and helping a few big, impressive names, but lots of, real people right around, um, yeah, with just making their businesses run smoother. And then in 2016, I got that call, diagnosis that nobody wants.
Tap on the back
Um,
on your shoulder, right?
yes, exactly. And of course, at first, I was just in complete shock. But you know, m- within a day or two, it was starting to find out, okay, so what does this mean for my treatment? And then it kind of crystallized in my mind, oh gosh, I also want to save my business and, be able to pay for this treatment and have something to do when I'm done
Yeah.
and all of that. So I started asking questions about um, what would treatment be like, uh, talking to mentors about, okay, so what do you do when,
Right, right.
life kind of smacks you with a 2x4? And it really didn't have resources or advice or anyone who uh, could speak to both. Um, both being able to do, take care of yourself, and which is top priority, but try to find a way to do it that leaves your goals and sense of purpose intact, which
Yeah,
actually turns out to be a big deal in terms of getting through a hardship like that.
yeah. Well, I just anecdotally, I was diagnosed with cancer back 17 years ago and had back surgery and stem cell transplants and all that stuff. And fortunately, I was in a corporate environment at the time, so I was able to go on disability. But a really good friend of mine who was a two-time breast cancer survivor, when I told people, she says, call me. As she was talking, she said, listen, you're going to get past this. What your life can be about after that. And that was actually huge because it wasn't like I'm going in a tunnel and there's no end in sight. It was more like, yeah, I'm getting to get through this and I'm up to something. So I'm just really resonating with your comment there.
Yep, exactly. So I went into it imagining that it was going to be 2, 3 months of surgeries and mess. And it turned out to be a year and a half.
Yeah.
And,
Yep.
there's the chemo, there was the radiation, there was
Yeah.
all the
Yeah.
stuff that I didn't necessarily want to do. And then afterwards,
Oh, I would like to sign up for cancer treatments.
right, yeah, no, it's true. Okay, I need a way to rephrase, but anyhow, but I mean, even when I got the diagnosis in my head, I was like, hey, well, I mean, the first few days were just,
This is
I
not
didn't
fair.
know what to think.
What's going to happen to
But
me?
but yeah, but then I started having that like bargaining session with God, like, okay, if you're gonna make me do this, then it's gotta have like a purpose. It's
Yeah.
gotta be meaningful, like I could say. But but at that point I did start thinking about, okay, so how do we make it meaningful? And when my imaginary 3 months turned into 18 or so, it was really useful that I was already thinking,
Yeah.
okay, what do I do with all this? Um, and looking at it, what I really kept coming back to was that what I know how to do that isn't being done is I know how to help businesses run well. And in spite of the fact that I wasn't doing everything possible for my own health until I realized there was a big old gap there.
Oopsie. Yeah.
Yeah. I was helping other business owners have the time to take care of their health, but not really, you know, taking care of my own, um, not doing for myself what I was encouraging others to do. So I started figuring out, okay, how do I do this? And taking notes and meeting people and kind of at first by accident learning how could other people do this. So that was back in 2016, and I'm now 6 years cancer free. And yeah. um, so I talk about it more freely now, and just help people.
Yeah.
Um, kind
Yeah.
of and demystify, because it's so frightening that sometimes it's just hard to even think clearly about
Yeah.
the
I mean,
idea that you can
I
take
want to say,
another step.
tell us about, like having a business and getting diagnosed with cancer, and like I'll phrase it like, why is it so important? But it's really like, what's the, how do you, what's important to deal with? It sounds like mindset is as much as it to deal with as anything.
Mindset is huge, yeah. But there's also just sort of the reflexive, oh my gosh, this is gonna be a disaster thing. I mean, it's once my mind started doing anything at all, it was jumping to, oh, okay, so I'm going to lose my business. I'm going to lose that, we're going to lose our house, that, all of the things that we're going to,
Yeah.
you know, uh, just completely explode. And the funny thing about it was, it didn't explode.
Right.
Yeah, the sky did not fall. And, little things step by step started helping us figure out how to get through it.
Yeah. Well, I'll say
Um,
one of the things I teach is, you know, you set a goal and think about what are the obstacles that you could potentially run into, and how, what's your plan B? And essentially,
mhm.
this is like, I've got some major obstacles here to
Yes.
having a decent life and getting through this. Like, what's my plan B for keeping my house and keeping bread on the table? Like, and
Mhm.
not dying. That'd be a good plan.
Yes,
Have a good
yeah.
plan B for that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like we're talking
Exactly.
about like really big hitter obstacles.
Yeah. Right. Right. And I mean the first one, like you were saying, is the mindset, it's the fear. And one thing that people can start with is that you hear about all these difficulties that people experience. And it starts to feel like all of them are going to come crashing in,
Mhm.
and they don't, which is not to say that its side effects are pleasant, but they can be minimized. And you're certainly not going to get all of them. And it's, the world doesn't necessarily come crashing in. So it's
Yeah,
better to start taking action and doing the small things that are in your control that lead to being able to do the next thing that improves your situation even that little bit more.
yeah. Or sort of as I like to say, don't forget to breathe.
Yeah, right. Yeah, don't forget to breathe and also drink water and eat good food
Yeah,
and go for a walk. It's
yeah.
the kind of the summary of how I start people.
Well, and that's actually my next question is, how can someone who has a business and is diagnosed with cancer deal with this? You know,
Yeah.
so
The
it sounds like
first thing,
the first things are just like trying to just take care of your foundational kind of well-being.
absolutely, yes. And de-stress. Think of stress as mainly mental, and certainly we have an overload of mental stress. But there are physical stresses also, that are pretty easy to at least start the ball rolling back in the right direction on.
Right.
And it's amazing how much difference it makes to make a pretty small change. And then that gives you a little bit of capacity
Yeah.
to start saying, okay, um, this list of all the things that I was excited about doing in the coming year. Gosh, the timing for me at least was like that, and I know it happens to other people too sometimes. My business had been through a rough patch and then a rebuilding patch, and I was just like, "Oh boy, this is going to be the greatest year." And then
And in a
and
sense, in a kind of a twisted sense, it was in that you were life forced you to figure out how strong you are and to give you plenty of room to be grateful that you're still here and all that.
yes,
But those are it's like
absolutely.
you don't sign up for that either.
Right, right. But yes, I mean it's um people who knew me 8 or 10 years ago and know me well now think I'm a completely different person, and I'm a happier person. And it's because I let go of a lot of the way I was sort of beating myself up and beating myself through my life.
Yeah.
It
Oh, I
didn't
understand.
work. And then I discovered it also isn't necessary. So hey,
Yeah. 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 And so it's funny what kind of life leads you through to get to where you are.
Yeah.
So, people are gonna, like, okay, so you're moving along, your business is going, you're fighting and scrabbling and like experiencing success, the highs and lows and all that sort of thing. And all of a sudden, hey, you've got cancer. And so deal with it. So there you
Mhm.
are. And
Yeah.
like, what are some of the mistakes that people can make, or like this, like that, and like, what should they do instead?
You know, when I went through and started prioritizing and letting go of some things and figuring out, what I was going to do next, um, there was a lot of like light switch thinking, like it either this is a yes or it's a no. And I realized later that uh, I couldn't do everything in one day still, just because I had an extra dose of motivation of knowing that things were going to get rough, didn't make it possible for me to suddenly, actually finish everything that I thought I, would like to have done by the
Right.
time the next year had passed.
Right.
And so I sort of felt like, okay, then I'm just kind of giving up on. And I went through and made a list of what I was keeping and talked to people who had to know about what was adjusting. And then I thought that was it. And that it wasn't true at all. Even crazily enough, in the middle of chemo, which was my first stop, um, it turned out that I was able to start picking things back up again. And if I had had like a purposeful roadmap and said, okay, here, then it probably would have worked out even better.
Right. Right. Well, that's what
You
I
know,
did.
S- yeah, yeah. Well, so there you go.
Yeah.
Work with Eric, guys.
Uh, yeah, I got it. So it's not all black and white. And, just kind of think through the essential steps that you really need to pursue to get you where you want to be, and let the
Mhm.
rest of the stuff fall by the wayside is kind of what I heard you say.
Yeah, I mean, and the
And
other thing
just
was I
like
was
lighten
able to
up on
step
yourself.
away, right? Lighten up on yourself for sure. Yes. But also I was able to kind of step back from some things,
Mhm.
and without it being okay, it's gone.
Yeah.
We jumped off the end of the pier on that one. I was able to step back in later on.
Mhm.
It's, the black and white thinking and the panickiness doesn't turn out to actually be necessary, you know. Um,
Yeah.
I
Yeah. It's
mean, I
like
guess it kind of is because,
relinquish your inclination for the drama.
yes, to some degree, yes. I mean, it's definitely hard, and if
Yeah.
you try to pretend it's not, that's not going to help you either.
Right. And part of the reason I'm laughing, or like this, just bringing a lightheartedness to it, is because it's like, I know that. Yeah. So,
Yeah,
but
exactly,
be gentle with yourself. So actually,
exactly.
maybe you could just tell us about somebody that you've helped, and the transformation that they realized.
Sure. Okay. Um, so there's a gentleman that I have been working with pretty recently, actually, who uh, was and still is working as a consultant, and kind of using his expertise as much as he's not working 20-hour days anymore.
Mhm.
um, and so at first it's sort of when he came to me, um, he was kind of feeling like, okay, things are a little bit smoother than I thought, but you know, I've got a couple of months until I transition into another phase, and that's going to be a little bit, that's going to be the thing I'm scared of, worried about.
Sure.
Um, so what we did was to really focus, because he's so capable, that he was kind of doing all kinds of different projects. Um, and what we did was focus him on what the economy needs now, what's selling well right now, what's really fun for him.
Mhm.
And so that's on the business side. And, he's got his expertise, but there were some things that he actually didn't know that I was able to help him see. Okay, here's a good way to make that work without running yourself ragged,
Yeah.
in terms of systems. And then once that was in place and kind of alongside, I started him on the process of, okay, you know, what's going on with your hydration?
Right.
What's,
Right.
what's happening with your sleep? Um, and
An
just
essential
finding,
thing. Yes.
yeah, exactly. And just finding those, I mean, he was doing pretty well with most of that and really well in some places. So it was, as much as anything, finding the little tweaks that, where he could he could take what he was doing from, sort of 80% of what was needed to get
Yeah.
through the cancer,
Yeah.
well, to, 95%.
Yeah. And that makes a big
Uh,
difference.
yeah, exactly.
Not
So,
just in
so
terms
he,
of outcome, but also in terms of quality of life as you're going through it, and then subsequently, for that matter. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And that quality of life thing translates into easier and less stressful getting your work done,
Yeah.
just as much as it does, so he's now more productive, more relaxed, and finding projects that he can easily work into his schedule the way that it's convenient.
Yeah.
So as that next phase of treatment started and he's got more side effects to deal with and that kind of thing, um, he's pleased with how it's not impacting him so much
Mm.
as he was afraid of. But at the same time, he's also a lot more confident about being able to kind of guide a client and say, okay, I'm not available from here to here. I will be available from there to there.
Right.
And this is what we'll do then. And so,
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah, so he's able to kind of take a deep breath,
Yeah.
take a nap,
Yeah. Yeah.
do the things that need doing. Um,
There's real
so
power in
yeah,
that clarity, isn't there?
yes, yeah, there really is. So yeah, so he's feeling a lot better about this process. And he's making some money, which is handy because
Yeah, it
he's got
helps.
well, yeah. I mean, even if you've got resources that'll keep the food on the table,
Right.
when you start talking about cancer treatment, there are things you can do to help yourself that aren't necessarily paid for by insurance.
Yeah.
So having a little extra cash flow
Yeah.
is very welcome.
I totally understand. So, are there any particular roadblocks that people should watch out for as they kind of find themselves on this journey?
Yeah, I already talked about the all or nothing thing, which
Yeah.
is definitely the first one that comes up, and it kind of keeps coming up. But another one that's sort of related to that is feeling like you can't quite advocate for yourself as much as you want to. And
Mhm.
in reality, there's there's really a lot that can be done
Yeah.
by other folks to help you arrange things the way they need to be arranged. So, if for whatever reason, having treatment on Tuesday just is a big mess for you, you can ask for Thursday.
Yeah. Yeah.
um, and you know, and and the same thing with work situations. Okay, you have a Wednesday meeting and it's first thing in the morning. And for a lot of people, it turns out it takes a little bit longer to get up and going in the morning
Right.
when you're in the middle of this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, so that Wednesday morning meeting, maybe it becomes a lunch meeting or, something like that. And people are able to do that kind of thing. And you don't even necessarily always have to say, well, I've got cancer, so you have to, and,
Right.
stress yourself, stress them, make it all drama. You can
Right.
just say, hey, some things have shifted. I really need to move this to noon. What can we do? And it happens. So,
Which you would do
um,
if something else came up, but it's sort of like because of the nature of the issue for you, sometimes you can get kind of weird with yourself about things,
yes.
and it doesn't require, or you're like still wrapped up in dealing with the fact that this is happening to you. I mean, because there's a lot of emotional content, like there's a lot of stuff that goes on with just dealing with that. I know,
Yeah.
but if you were just like if somebody had set up a meeting and you said and then something else came up and there's a conflict, you just say, hey, can we shift this?
Right.
No explanation, no drama, but it's
Yeah.
like but being that way is like that's where you come in. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Exactly. And because, I mean, even you say that, And I can picture myself saying, okay, well, I'll ask for 1 or 2 shifts, but when it starts to be 3 or 4 shifts, I start to feel like, you know, maybe I'm imposing on people too much, maybe
Right.
whatever. And so you kind of have to give yourself a little space to
Yeah.
remember to do it in a way that is kind and thoughtful for other people instead of demanding. But that's not really that hard. We kind of all know how to do that. And when we stop and consciously think, that's really all I need to do. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, I can do this.
I can actually do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So is there like if people had like if there's one golden nugget that people would go away with, what is there one that you would want to have to leave them with?
Yes. The rhythms that we sort of maybe don't pay quite as much attention to as we should in day-to-day life become more important when you're dealing with something like this that really is a strain. So, the timing of your sleeping, of your eating, of your exercise, all those things, um, which we kind of know a little bit, but we don't necessarily give a lot of room to ourselves to actually use it.
Yeah.
It becomes super valuable, and small changes can actually make the most surprising difference sometimes.
Yeah. Well, sometimes just a small change now, you can kind of picture it like if you just do a little tweak to your compass point over time, you end up far away from where you might have been.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Yes. It's just because I got through cancer and figured out this whole system doesn't mean I know that I'm able to consciously live perfectly all the time. Um,
Yeah.
So it was actually pretty recently I had someone suggest that I shift the time that I have breakfast by about an hour,
Mhm.
and I was shocked by how much it helped.
Wow. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
funny because there's like always room to do a little bit of tweaking and tuning. And
Mhm,
like you say, small things,
mhm.
big impact potentially.
Yeah, exactly.
So is there a, a question that, you know, that I didn't ask you that, and if so, how would you answer it?
Well, one of the big things that ahas that I got from this whole experience that applies to more than just folks who are in the middle of cancer is that there's like a social expectation of you're either perfect or able to like pretty much pretend that you are,
Yeah.
or you're useless. And the reality is that it's not like that at all.
It's back to that black
Um,
and white.
it's back to that black and white thinking. We don't have to be perfect to do really good work. We don't have to work 15-hour days to do really good work.
Yeah.
And it's really okay to be who we are with, warts and all, as the saying goes, whatever it is that is our particular flavor of not being a cardboard cutout, and still go and do and contribute and have purpose in the world.
Yeah.
um i think I think that applies to every human being. um,
Yes. Yeah.
um, and
Completely agree.
and certainly people with any kind of a health challenge that they're dealing with and still trying to run businesses or
Yeah.
run divisions of companies or whatever it is that we're trying to do. We can still do that. It's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, so I have a soapbox about that I get on now and then.
Well, I'm with you. I'm with you. Well, how can people get in touch with you? Because I have, like for those that want to talk, like those that need your support, how can they reach you?
Sure. So my email address is hi, just like the word hello, at talk to Well, now if I wouldn't stumble over it, talktojulianne.com. So it's just DALKTO. And then my name, which in internet terms is spelled JULIEANN. So there's three vowels altogether and a double N. Hi at talktojulianne.com. And I'd be great to
Awesome.
chat and just see, how I can help you and point you and see if you wanted to do anything more. That can kind of come later.
Sure. Well, it shows in terms of how the conversation's been going that at a minimum, you'd get a calming voice. So, and
Yeah, yeah.
and I understand you have a gift for everyone.
I do, yes. It's at bit.ly, so bit.ly/small buster. And it is
It's
three,
SMALL SMALLBUSTER.
yes,
Uh-huh.
exactly.
Yeah.
Without any spaces in between or anything. And what that is three really simple stress busters that work for anyone. And have this dynamic that I've been talking about where you can do something small and it actually makes a big difference.
Yeah.
So that's a way to get started, and share it with folks who have any kind of health situation, even like there's nothing wrong at the moment.
Yeah. 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 Got stress? Get the gift.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and we all do, right?
Yeah. Well, Julie-Anne, it's been such a treat speaking with you. Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Eric. You too.
So
Yeah,
that's
and
it
I'm
for
looking
now.
forward to future conversations.
Yes, likewise. Okay. Well, thanks everyone. Take care.